This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, welcome everyone to the next segment of the last will and testament of Rabbi Yehuda Hachasid. We are now up to part, which one, which part? Part 13. Part 13. Don't worry, we're nearing the end. Okay, I'm going to tell you, today we're going to learn the Shita of the Satmar Rebbe when it comes to the position of the Tzava of Rabbi Yehuda Hachasid. So here we have two tshuvas, in Shalas Tshuvas Avnei Tzedek of Rabbi Kusiel, Yehuda, Teitelbaum. And then we're going to get to the Divrei Yoel. He says regarding number 64, and 65, he says, oh, some of them have 64, some of them don't. Okay. Al Derach, this is Shalom L'chvayda Rav Hacharf Ubaki, Hamara Agoyla Abeznik Hal Kadosh Meilavitz. Al Derach Beis Mechutanim Sheshmosein Shavim. What about two Mechutanim that have the same name? Golav Yadu Aloi, Divrei Sefer Chasidim, Vai Mashgaz Shuvas Divrei Chayim, Even Ezer, and Heishiv Moshe. They write Vahavu Duloi Loisif Allah, meaning we take the following position when it comes to Tzava Rabbi Yehuda Hachasid. Havu Duloi Loisif Allah. Havu Duloi Loisif Allah means whatever he said, fine. But if there's any difference at all, any nuance of difference, even a small shinoi, then we are not makbid. B'chol sheyesh eza shinoi mima shinar b'hatzava hochin lahakal v'apizeh amarti dezel lashon sefer chasidim beis v'nei adam sheshmosein shavim lo yizdavgo yachad b'yadein hainu b'yoladim ketanim she'avim shel yodim him mischanim zem zeh. The Rabbi Yehuda Hachasid was very literal. It's when the mechutanim are getting married. So how could usually a husband and wife get married? Usually the mechutanim don't get married. Sometimes mechutanim get married. When they marry off their children, when they're ketanim, it's the mechutanim who are getting married. The kids are just like an offshoot. They're just a side point. Meaning if they're having a basho, what is it called? Where they sit in. And basically the two mechutanim, they're the ones getting married. And at the end of after they agree to marry each other, they send the kids in the room just to seal the deal. So that then, taka, the mechutanim can't have the same name. But if the two people going out, they have their own deya, so then they're getting married, we don't care about the names of the mechutanim. And he says, V'prat sheshem ksav, sheshem kasa, shezeh, safigim lazaroi oy l'chol adam. There, especially this particular one, it's a suffix, whether he meant only for his descendants, for anyone. V'chol kahagavna pesfeika efshel hakol api shinoi hanal omandoloi kapid loi kapdinam bahadei, as Chasam Sofer says, v'api oifen hanal tzarch lichtoi v'hatnoim hachason ha'oim mitzad atzmoi. You don't say in the Tanoim ha'oim mitzad oviv ha'oim mitzad imai. Just a chason who's oim mitzad atzmoi. Now here's the clincher. V'im yaskim iti kvoidoi v'oid rav echad rashai lismoich lahakel ki kach mekablaim yanim elu lasois b'haskama shlosh Rabbanim. Then when it comes to the Tzava Rabbi Hachasid, if you could get 3 rabbis to sign off of it, you're good to go. Whether you're makbid, you're not makbid, basically there seems to be a loophole. You get 3 rabbis to say mutarlach, 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 and then it's mutarlach. Where else in halacha do you find this is really awesome, but we'll get 3 rabbis to sign off of it? Not really. You're not going to find it. But interestingly, when it comes to Tzava Rabbi Yehuda Hachasid, here Rabbi Kusiel Yehuda Teitelbaum writes that that you could get 3 Rabbanim and then they could sign off. Likewise, Siman Yud Aleph. You have another scenario in Siman Yud Aleph where he writes the same exact thing. He says, "Uveprat achar shekvar nasa ma'isa hashichin ublanim yanim kailu im yaskimu das gimel rabbanim lahater ein lahakbid." So here, that's a question. What kind of idea is that? What's the basis for such a principle that get 3 rabbis to sign off of it and you're good to go? I mean, let's say a guy comes to the Rav and says, Rav, I'm sitting next to this guy by davening. He talks his head off the whole davening. What should I do? I know the Shulchan Aruch says, God of Masai. So the Rav says, call up the Minchas Pinchas and call up Rabbi Yankel Friedman, and the 3 of us are going to sign a shtar that it's mutter for you to do it. No. Then all 3 of them will lose their rabbinic license. So what's this inyan of 3 rabbis signing off here? But if we look, Shal Sechuvas Divrei Yoel, Even Ezer Siman Kuf Tesvav, Ma Sheshal Be'inyan HaShidduch Im Benoi Shal HaRab Yitzchak Isaac, Hinei Ma Shehaya Shmoi Kishem Olav Hashem Eno Klum. That which his name is like the same name as his father, we don't care about that. Ach Ma Sheshem HaChasan Kishmoi Zahu Savas Uridachas. Meaning the fact that the Chasan has the same name as the Shver's father, who cares? But the fact that the Chasan has the same name as the Shver, B'hainu Regilim Lizar B'zam Dinosenu. Ach b'makam sarach gadol. If you have a pressing need, yesh kama gedolim shekilu b'zeh. There are many gedolim who are mekel. Remember, we saw that some gedolim say it has to be meshulashim. Uvitzoi koitim halalu. In these difficult times, Shavosena Rabbim nesharnu ma'at meharbe, that the Jewish people have diminished. V'kasha ma'oid be'inyan hazivugim, and shidduchim is very difficult. So every situation of shidduchim, says the Satmar Rebbe, is tzarech gadol. So what do? You should ask the counsel of 3 great rabbis who are God-fearing, that we have a tradition that asher haskamas gimel Rabbanim binyan skula. There's a well-known segula that when it comes to Savav Rebbes of Satmar, you get 3 rabbis. Look in Shas Chus Avnei Tzedek, that we just saw. And some Gedolim are mekel if you add a name. And you could do that to add a name to the Chasan and call him by that name. Okay, so my Rabbi says, so there is this documented segula that when it comes to Savav Rebbes of Satmar, you can be lenient. So questions like, what in the world is the basis of this? Yes.
So if somebody is over 20, a man, that's considered tzolka?
When he makes reference to tzolka itim, he means in general the difficult state of the Jewish people. He doesn't refer to any age, but yeah.
Didn't you say
last time we mentioned that over 20, you're over the hill. It's an emergency. Every minute that you could hasten it, it's advantageous to do so. So let's just read number 66, where we have from the Bnei Yisachar, who provides some of the rationale for this segula. The Bnei Yisachar says like this. Shaus. I think it's the Atzei Chayim, or the Yeter of Lev, I don't remember. Yeah. So he says, this is the Bnei Yisachar in the Sefer Dvarim Nechamadim. He brings B'Shas Tshuvas Hain Yosef. They chakru b'inyanei hazivugim sha'asar Yehuda Hachasid, which is against the Gemara. He says, "V'nei oid b'meinu urai ra'asa eni b'shuri eskal elo inyan." When I was younger, I looked into this. V'yesh li b'zeh kama harurei dvarim. I have a lot of thoughts. V'nei harav ha'mechaber k'fi ha'nira hifriz al mido lahater legamri advarim sha'asar merinu Yehuda Hachasid. The author was very lenient. And Mahari Susan, if you remember him, he wanted to answer everything. I have a different take on it. If a rabbi lets it, then it will be mutter. Remember we had the story last time about Reb Chaim Kanievsky? Normally Chaim Kanievsky is machmer, but on one particular situation, he mattered it. What's the pshat? Look what the Bnei Yissaschar writes, that there is a concept that api chacham badar, bevade gam hu mater. Why? In the heavens, they follow what the rabbis say down here. And now you'll understand that Rav Papa, remember Rav Papa and his son married two sisters? Rav Papa and his son married two sisters. Rav Papa shei chacham b'darai. V'nasahu v'chein b'noi beizachayis. That means they knew that if Rav Papa did it, then min hashamayim, they were maskim to what Rav Papa did. Hinei eskimu b'vadim min hashamayim. V'chein ko'es b'va adam lishol l'fnei chacham. If somebody asks a rabbi, chacham mamsi ra'im min ha'gemara min ha'maiser Rav Papa, hinei ein kam beis mechosh. Kiman shiyatz adam pi chacham. This type of thing where it's like a tenuous halacha, once the rabbi says it's good, that's how they say it in the shamayim, and then you have nothing to worry about. Then you'll have, based on this premise, you'll have no questions. Bin v'hizboinin ma'rabu ma'asecha Hashem. Kulam b'chachma asisam alas kinanecha. That the chachamim in the world are makabel from the chachma. Okay, Marav Rabbi say. So this concludes number 13, where based on this tradition we have, as we see in Shal Shuvas Avnei Tzedek, as we see in Shal Shuvas Divrei Yoel, that if you get the haskama of 3 chachamim, then we say, don't worry about it, that in the Shemayim they're going to paskin like they paskin down here, and that would be another loophole to get around the tzava of Rabbi Yehuda Hachasid.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.